So, 6 Goddis take on Dr. Umar Johnson. Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So, I remember everybody pretty much remembers the viral interview that Dr. Umar Johnson did when he was on the Daily Wrap-Up crew. Now, he lost a lot of black men with that interview. You know, always wanted to hold black men responsible for all of the problems of the black community. Now, a lot of black men started to turn on him, turn away from him. And me personally, I always saw him for what he was. Now, one time I thought that he was a black man who was truly sincere about wanting to fix the black community. He was just going about it the wrong way. He was going about it with victimhood. And you're not going to fix the black community with victimhood. Now, he's just an idiot. I mean, he's just a dude right now that's just pandering to females for a check. Now, many people had so much to say about that interview, including myself. I also did a video on that. Now, 6 Goddis, who also had something to say about the video. She's one of the people. Now, I usually agree with most of what she said, a good bit of what she says. The only time I find myself disagreeing with her is when she starts with the race hustling, which she does from time to time. But she said a lot in this video that I disagree with.
You know, and this guy here is super annoying how everything Umar says, he's like, but what about the women? It's giving raised by a single mom. It's giving feminine energy. I know like it. And Umar is like, listen, we are grown men here having conversation. Let's talk about the men, period. Why?
Okay, here's the problem with that logic is that I have to agree with Kevin Samuels on this. You know, we've talked about black men enough. Okay? Look, I just turned 50, and I can tell you when Kevin Samuels said that black men were being blamed, this whole black men ain't shit narrative has been out since the late 80s. I remember it starting in the late 80s, and it started to perpetuate more in the early 90s. It became mainstream in really the mid 90s. The mid to early 90s is when this black men ain't shit narrative got mainstream. We saw it on daytime TV, these talk shows. As he said, Donahue, Ricky Lake, all these other shows, Oprah, that a black man is not being responsible and a black man is not doing what they're supposed to do. And it's actually a bunch of BS. But if black women are the problem, then shouldn't we be talking about what the problem is? It ain't black men. But how is it that it's okay to talk about this narrative of black men ain't shit, but then when we start holding black women accountable, now it's a problem?
I agree with you, but that's not all sisters.
No, it's not.
And if you're constantly running into that type of woman, then the problem is you, because you're attracting a certain low vibrational energy. Why
not have that same energy for women? You just again, you have the man responsible. Because we having a conversation
as men.
Yeah.
It's okay to have these conversations like, black women this, black women that, but things cannot be imbalanced. You can't, every time you're having a conversation about what black men need to do, you cannot constantly be like, well, what about black women? It's just counterproductive. Let the women counsel the women, let the men counsel the men. I'm with that 100%.
I got plenty of interviews with all women where I check them too.
All right.
But as a man, you should not be concerned about what I say to them. No, as men, we should be concerned of what we're going to do to produce a better generation of black males for tomorrow. That's the only, that is where we should be focused.
Women bring the...
Well, why shouldn't we focus on black women if black women are the problem? I mean, if you want men to come in and fix the black community and put on the cape and save the black community, well, men generally address problems. We don't pander, well, usually, but we address problems. And if you want black men to come in and fix this, then we're going to have to figure out what the problem is. We know that it's black women. So if black women are the problem that you want us to fix, then we need to focus on that problem. Okay, the only people who won't hold black women accountable are those people who really truly don't care about the black community. And he can't possibly care about the black community if he refuses to address what the problem really is, if he's going to pander to it.
The choice of life, right? We understand that, right? I can't have a child unless a woman agrees.
And she can't carry one if you didn't put it in her.
I agree with that 100% too, right? But whether or not, if you want that child.
You mean if the Pookies and Ray Rays didn't put the seed in her? Again, we've seen the numbers on the percentage of black men who are single and childless. So black men are not out here just impregnating black females left and right. Now, it'd be one thing if all these single mothers, if it was a 1-to-1 ratio for every one individual black female who got pregnant, it was one individual black male across the board evenly that impregnated them, then you can say this. Then we can look at black men for not raising their children, not being in homes. But that's not the case. Most black men are not out here impregnating all these women. So you cannot blame black men for something that black men aren't doing. Once again, you have to go to black females. Why are you laying up with the dudes who are going to impregnate you and bounce? If you're going to give your body away, give it away to some dude who's going to stay there with you. But unfortunately, we live in a day era when so many black females are with this. They want the hood niggas, they want the thugs. And nobody can say that this is not the case because there's tons of videos out there of black women saying this, especially the young females. But then from what I'm hearing, the older females, they may not be as vocal about it, but they'll be running out here doing it. But anyway, how are black men responsible, the black men who are single and childless, how are they responsible for these women being impregnated?
If it's me speaking to women and only women, I will tell women 1,000 times, you have a baby, that's your baby. Understand that, okay? And we're talking about the after it's all been said and done. But 100%, I don't like how we do have this thing that where it's like having children is just the women's fault.
Nobody ever said it's all women's fault. Okay? We put the blame on both sides. Matter of fact, I don't think there's a community out here that shames more thugs and Pookie and Ray Rays more than the red pill community does. And remember, Kevin Samuels dealt with men before he dealt with women. So the red pill community shames both. The problem is that when the red pill community shames both, women only hear when they get shamed for it. And they just have this inability to accept accountability. But nowhere in society, really truly, if we want to be honest, the only place where these thugs and these Pookies and Ray Rays are celebrated is with black women and in hip hop culture. That's it. So black women are the ones who are celebrating them. And anytime when these black females are saying they want these hood dudes, they want the Pookies and Ray Rays, they want the dudes with 4 or 5 bodies, they're celebrating that. But black men don't celebrate this. So again, we're not putting fault on one side. The problem is that there's one side that just refuses accountability.
Did black men willingly leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So how, if we giving them grace for them having to do it without us, but it wasn't our fault, how are we not getting that same grace and that same respect?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because black men, as the leaders of the community, now
we can't be leaders.
Here's the question we gotta make. That? Here's the question. Because the argument y'all make,
See, you've already lost as a man when the minute that you're asking women for the permission to lead them. But see, this is where we tend to want to have it both sides, where it's like, I'm the leader. Oh, but you ain't listening to me. So the leader keeps going. Okay, whether you listen, whether you follow, that's on you. Everyone have their own free will, but the leader don't stop leading based upon the people following them. Okay. So yeah, when you have a group of men sitting around almost speaking as though these issues are out of their control, again, it brings us back into that defeatist energy. At the reality of it all, at the foundation of it, that is the truth. Everything is the man's fault, and real men will tell you that. When it comes to real men, masculine men, you cannot get them to blame anyone but themselves when things go bad. And he's always looking for a solution. So when you have a bunch of men like, oh, the women ain't listening, she picked Pookie, it is the biggest sign of I've given up on my manhood. You can't never give up your manhood. I don't care what happens or if people ain't responding the way that's never an option. You have to be willing to be the villain, and you cannot care whether people like you or not. That is a good leader. To be able to see the bigger picture, make decisions, even when the people who are following you may not understand. And they'll see in the long run you made that right decision. But fellas, please stop putting spells on yourself where the minute you're having a conversation about your leadership as men, the first thing you talk about is whether or not the women will allow it.
Where exactly are black men asking for permission to lead? Nobody's doing it. There's no black men out here on their hands and knees begging women to let us lead them. That's BS. What black men are doing is, again, since men tend to be problem solvers, we see what's going on in the black community, and they're saying, hey, they're offering their leadership, they're offering their guidance to black females, and black females just simply aren't listening. So you can't blame black men for this. I mean, you can't lead something that does not want to be led, and black women don't want to be led. They're strong and independent, and they want to be they're the boss bitches and all this stuff. This is a perfect example would be the passport bros, right? Passport bros did not ask to get passports and leave. They saw that they wasn't finding what they were looking for with black females, so they got their passports and they went to other places where they can get what they're looking for from females. If they can't get it from black women in America, they'll get it from women somewhere else. If they can't find a femininity from these strong, independent boss bitches in America, they'll go to Colombia, they'll go to Brazil, they'll go to Philippines to find it. And this is what passport bros are. These men didn't ask for permission to do this. They did it because they they felt they weren't getting what they want from black women in America. And it's particularly women in first world, modern women in first world is particularly what they're avoiding. But then again, I love Six of Goddess for what she does. I mean, if you watch her show, primarily geared at black females, and she teach femininity to black females. Her and Danica Marie, I like what they're doing, but you can't hold black men responsible for something that black men aren't responsible for doing. Okay, black men are neither responsible for the black community, nor do we have any responsibility to fix anything in the black community, because we're not the problem. We didn't cause this. Black women did. And as long as we keep wanting to look at black men for all the problems of the black community, it's never going to get fixed. And this is just simply what black men are saying. But black men are not out here, again, we've seen the numbers on black men. They're really ascending. 63% of black men are going into the middle class. I didn't know that. So if you can't tell me that they're not leading in their lives. Anyway, y'all, that's my disagreement with Six. Like I said, I usually agree with her most of the time, but I just disagree with her, flat out disagree with her here. She just, I don't know, maybe like I said, she has her opinion. Everybody has their opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But you're not entitled to your own facts, and you're not entitled to your own truth. Anyway, y'all, as always, until next time.